So I'll go ahead and start it. And as people join in, we're more than happy to repeat things, but I'll introduce myself first. My name is Holly Kell, and I'm an evaluations counselor in the undergraduate admissions office. So what we're doing today in this Zoom session is speaking with different representatives from our health and wellness departments across campus. We'll be hearing from the health services department and the counseling center to start off with. So if you have any questions throughout the Zoom session, feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat box app. Either option is totally fine. We do ask that you keep questions, pretty general. If you do need to ask a specific question, that is fine. Just let us know and we'll get you the contact information so you can get the answers in an appropriate manner. So what we'll do first is I'll hand it over to health services, and they'll tell you about their department, where they're located, and other good information like that.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. I am Becky Miller, and I'm one of the nurse practitioners at Health Services, and we would love to be your primary care provider while you're here at UTC. We are in operation from Monday to Friday from 8 to 5, and we can do anything that you would go to your normal PCP or an urgent care place for at home. We can manage acute illnesses or chronic illnesses if people have, high blood pressure, things like that. So anything that you can think of that you would need medically, we will be there for you for that. We are by appointment only because of COVID conditions. We are not taking walk-ins as we previously had, but we will get you seen very promptly. You can also just call and talk to a nurse if you're unsure about whatever is going on with you that you need to be seen or not seen. You can always call a nurse and just talk about whether you need to get scheduled or if they can provide you with whatever information that you need. We are located in McClellan Gym, which is across from the University Center. And I've got one of my registered nurses on here with me, Jan, so you would very likely be talking to her or seeing her if you come in. And then I also have Tia, who is one of our administrative assistants, and she can answer some questions about immunizations for you. Tia, would you like to just give the little brief summary of the immunization process for those who haven't turned theirs in yet? Okay, she might be on another call. So on our website, there is it lays out the process of uploading your immunization form and the requirements. So it's a simple process to go through. If you have any difficulty with it, you can call Louise Couch. Her email and number are in our website. There's Tia. She might want to add to that.
Hello, and apologies to everyone. I was helping someone out with their immunizations, of course. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit of information with you guys about how to get your immunizations uploaded into the system. I have a little PowerPoint, a short one that I'm going to share with you. You can feel free to screenshot it. And here we go. All right. Yes, I did it right. Okay, so basically to upload your immunizations, you're going to take your cell phone and take a picture of your immunization form. We accept many different forms of immunization certificates. You just have to make sure that it has a stamp on it, which includes the phone number, name, and address of the facility which you got your records from, and the signature of the provider. you can feel free to go on our website and use our general form that we have available. It has a few empty boxes on it, which you have to get filled with the dates, signed and stamped by the provider. Usually that's an easier route because sometimes students submit their records without one or the other, but that one will make sure that you go ahead and get both of the processes done. And then you need to enter your dates, of course, as I mentioned before. So it's all done through the same link under utc.edu. Once you go to immunizations, you just go in there and take that picture and then take your dates that you got your vaccines and enter it into the chart. So the shots that are required are 2 varicella, 2 MMR, 3 hepatitis B, and a dose of meningitis A, well, Menactra A, and we recommend that you get B. So the contact information for one of the immunization specialists is louise-couch@utc.edu, and her cell phone number is 423-425-2276. And my email is Tia, Tiah, -Hunter, Hunter, @utc.edu. And my extension is 2266. So that's 423-425-2266. And you can also contact me about any of your immunization questions that you may have. So on the second slide, it's going to, well, wait a minute. Maybe not. Okay, I almost got it. Okay. Second slide, it just gives a little bit more information about the vaccines that we require. And again, you're just going to go in and enter those dates and enter the proof that you have of your vaccines. What else? Oh, I had something else to mention to you guys. Maybe not. But if you have any questions, put them in the chat box and I'll feel free to answer them. Oh, we also have a waiver form that you guys can use. If you are missing your Hep Bs, one of them, all of them, or if you're missing your Menactra and you're not going to be staying on campus, you can access the waiver form through utc.edu under our portion of the site and fill it out and upload an image of it as well, and we will clear you with that. Okay, so I'm going to go back again so you guys can catch that one. And then here we go. And that is all I have to share today. But again, just feel free to ask me questions over in the chat box.
Thanks, Tia. Also, just to address any COVID concerns people have, we are finalizing our policies and procedures for managing COVID illness. We are going by CDC guidelines. We will see and treat people at University Health Services. We will have testing available. So never fear, we're all over it. Okay.
Thanks, Becky. So now that we've heard from the Health Services Department, I'm going to transition over to Miss Julie, who's a representative from the Counseling Center. So take it away, Julie.
Thanks, Holly, and hello to everyone else. My name is Julie Dembo, and I am one of the counselors at the UTC Counseling Center. And today I'll be telling you a little bit about what we do at the Counseling Center and how you can access our services. So I'm going to take a second and share my screen with you. I do have a little PowerPoint for us today. Okay. So at the UTC Counseling Center, we offer free individual counseling services to students who reside in the state of Tennessee. So our individual counseling sessions are 50 minutes long, and we typically see students every 2 weeks. We do offer a variety of group counseling services that are free as well. We're having to get a little bit creative with the pandemic and are hoping to offer some groups starting in the fall online. And another service we offer at the Counseling Center are crisis intervention services for students who are experiencing a mental health emergency. So examples of a mental health emergency might be students who are having active thoughts of harming themselves or who might need help accessing a higher level of care, such as a psychiatric hospital. We do have after-hours counseling services available for students who are experiencing an emergency, and I'll be sure to give you that number at the end of the PowerPoint. So the only service that we charge a fee for at the counseling center are psychiatric services for students who are wanting to try mental health medications. We charge $45 for the intake session and then $20 for follow-ups. Currently, we have 7 full-time counselors on our staff. We also have a few interns who work with students in counseling sessions as well. They just do so under the supervision of a licensed professional counselor. So this is Dr. Britt Cusack. She is our prescriber and psychiatric nurse practitioner. Dr. Cusack works with students who are experiencing a variety of mental health concerns like anxiety, depression, mood disorders, ADHD, and then students who are on the autism spectrum see her as well. So there's a variety of reasons that students would seek counseling. We do tend to work with a lot of students who are experiencing anxiety, depression, relationship issues, or students who are going through a challenging adjustment, such as coming to college for the first time or transferring to a new school. So currently we are only offering telehealth services, like I said, for students who live in the state of Tennessee. Due to counselor licensing laws, we are unable to work with students who reside outside of Tennessee or who will reside outside of Tennessee in the fall. But if you are a student who lives outside of Tennessee and you're wanting to get connected to local mental health resources, definitely give us a call. We can schedule a virtual one-time consultation session and talk you through the process of getting connected to somebody in your area. We are hoping to be able to offer some in-person sessions starting in the fall. Everyone's health and safety is certainly our number one concern, so we will continue to be able to offer telehealth services and be as flexible as we can with students. So here's our contact information. When we're on campus, we're located in the University Center, room 338. That's above the bookstore. We also have an on-call counselor I was telling you about. That's for any time our office is closed, after hours, weekends, holidays. And I'll go ahead and recommend that everybody puts this number in their phone. It's 423-425-CARE. And then you'll select option number 4 to contact the on-call counselor. That first phone number is our daytime phone number. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We also have a website, utc.edu/counseling, with more information about our services. And you can also follow us on social media on Instagram and Facebook at UTC Counseling Center. There we have coping skills, psychoeducation, and just general information on what we're up to at the Counseling Center. So go ahead and give us a follow there. And if anybody has any questions, I am happy to answer them.
Thanks, Julie. So like Julie said, now is the great time, now that we've heard from both the health services and the counseling center. If you have any questions regarding any type of health concerns or advice and tips, I typically like to start off the Q&A session by asking our representatives, what's some advice do you recommend to transfer students? They've attended other universities, but what is some good advice specifically for UTC transfer students?
I would say make sure that you get involved and invested in the university. Let it be your community, your home, and that's the best way to enjoy the experience.
Yeah, I would second that as well. Just trying to make sure you get involved as possible, taking advantage of these resources that we're telling you about today, but also trying to get involved in some clubs and activities, and that's a really great way to get connected on campus and meet people. Certainly that might look a little bit different this semester, but the university is trying to get as creative as we can and still continue to offer students those types of activities in a safe way. And I'll say, have realistic expectations for your first semester. It's a really exciting time, but it can be challenging and it can be lonely at times as well. So, try not to compare yourself to other people on social media and recognize that that's just kind of a highlight reel. But, focusing on you and your needs, and trying to take things one day at a time and continue to get as connected as possible.
Our campus is a little different from possibly other campuses you've been on. It's a very beautiful campus with a lot of green space, and green space is great unless you have allergies. So we have a lot of grass and a lot of trees. If you have allergies, be sure and bring your allergy medicine with you, so you don't have to go to the pharmacy and try to figure out which one of those over-the-counter drugs you take. You may actually even take prescription meds for it, I'm not sure. But nasal spray, your inhalers if you have asthma, all those things bring with you. In fact, fix a little med box, prepare that with any medicine that you're acquainted with taking at home currently. And that way, if you get an upset stomach, or you get a headache, or you get your allergies, you've got the right med to take it. If there are parents listening, be sure they know what they're taking these meds for. So that will narrow down their choices when they do get sick. Hopefully they won't get sick, but you're going to hit at the height of tree and grass pollen season. So you may think you've come to school and gotten a cold or gotten COVID, but you probably have allergies. So we're around if your allergy medicine doesn't work, but bring all that with you. Also, if you take prescription medication of any kind, it's good to go to the Center for Wellbeing and get a lockbox for that prescription med and put it away, and don't advertise to everybody that you have ADD medicine or things for depression or anxiety. It's just best to keep that quiet, especially the ADD medicine, or people will be hounding you to buy it or to steal it. So just kind of keep those things close.
I did neglect to say also that your visits to a provider at our clinic is covered under your student health fee that you've paid. So that our services are free for your visits to us. There could be charges for any testing that we do, although we have received a number of COVID tests at no cost, so we will be able to administer those at no cost. But there are some things like flu tests, strep tests, urinalysis that you would have small charges for.
That's actually really great advice, and it leads me to my next question, because UTC is in the heart of downtown Chattanooga. So we're surrounded by a lot of different businesses, and Becky, June, and Janice, correct me if I'm wrong, we technically don't have a pharmacy on campus. So do y'all recommend if students need refills on prescriptions, or if they need to see someone? Could y'all elaborate a little bit more on that process in case students do need a prescription refilled?
That's correct. We don't have a pharmacy on our university campus, but there are several pharmacies that are very close. Driving distance, one could be walking distance, although it'd be a long walk. But if you are on regular medications and you just need a renewal of your prescription, and then we can certainly see you for that and write you a new prescription and send the prescription to the pharmacy for you. We do have a limited dispensary, I'll call it, not a pharmacy, of medicines that are commonly used. And generally people who either don't have insurance, because our medicines are very cheap to buy if you don't have insurance coverage, or if you don't have transportation to get to a pharmacy, or say you have strep throat and you need an antibiotic, and it would be several hours before you could get to the pharmacy, and you would just prefer to get it from us and start right now. So we do have some limited medications for sale, but we don't bill insurance.
I think that's really good information to know. So basically the next question I wanted to ask. And
Holly, I'm not hearing anything you're saying.
can you hear me now? I
Yes.
feel like that television ad, the old television ad. So that's really good information that Miss Becky and June provided us in this session. So it kind of leads me to my next question, which I'll direct to Julie. I know in previous sessions, students have asked about, when is a good time versus bad time to come see the counseling center. Is there such a thing? How would you tell students if they're worried or concerned? What would you recommend to students who are unsure or uncertain about, their health situation?
Sure, that's a good question, Holly. Thank you for asking it. There's never a bad time to come to counseling, but I would say, trying to be a little bit proactive in accessing our services and make sure that you're able to see a counselor quickly and get established with one of our counselors that you can work with throughout the semester, especially while you are going through this transition. So we're actually accepting new students right now who are enrolled in the fall. So if you want to schedule what we call an intake session to get started, now would be a really great time to do it, or at the start of the fall semester, because we do tend to get a little bit more busy around midterms and leading into the finals at the end of the semester. So a lot of students want to know what it looks like the first time they come to the counseling center. So you will contact our front desk staff. Right now, we will schedule you a virtual intake session, which will be over the computer. And it's kind of like a getting to know you session. So the first time isn't a counseling session. We schedule that after the intake. But your counselor will just ask you some questions, get to know you a little bit better, take your history, and talk about what your goals are for counseling, what your concerns are, and kind of come up with a plan from there. It's also a really good time to ask your counselor any questions that you have about the counseling process. If you're not someone who's been to counseling before, that's completely okay. If you're somebody who has been to counseling before, that's fine too. But there's really no issues that are too small to come to counseling for. Like I said, we do work with students who are experiencing the stress related to being a college student, relationship issues, adjustment issues, things like that. And then there's also no issue that's too big. If it's something that we feel you might benefit from seeing a counselor more frequently than we're able to see you, or if you need a higher level of care, we'll definitely walk you through that process and help you get connected to a resource that's going to be exactly what you need. So no issue too big or too small. And I would say getting started, the sooner the better.
Thanks, Julie. And the next question that I'll ask is directed towards both departments. I know since we're speaking to a group of transfer students, there's going to be a variety of students who are super independent, and then some are new to the health service industry, the terminology, the questions to ask. So some individuals may want to share that information with a friend, bring a friend to, a health service appointment or meeting. So could both departments elaborate just a little more on if they want to share information with parents or with a friend or bring someone with them to an appointment, if you could elaborate on the details and how it's different for both offices.
Sure.
We generally do not allow anyone back into the exam rooms with the patient. And particularly now with the COVID situation, we really want to reduce the amount of people that are in our clinic. There are always extenuating circumstances. And so if you feel like you would really need to bring someone with you for whatever type of support, we're certainly willing to work with individuals for those needs. As far as communicating with parents, when you come to us, our services are confidential to you. We would not disclose any information to anyone, including your parents, without your written consent. Now, if you want us to discuss your case with your parents, we're happy to do that. And we would have you sign a release of information in our clinic allowing us to do that. But if we do not have that on file, we would not disclose any information at all, even the fact that you were there. Now, if you're in my office and you're sick and you hand me the phone and say, here, can you tell my mom? Then yes, I would do that. I wouldn't make you sign a form before I talked to your mom, but I might make you sign it afterwards.
And our process is actually pretty similar to Becky and University Health Services process. Confidentiality is really important to what we do. It's crucial in counseling for people to feel safe and understood. So if we are going to release, if you'd like us to release any kind of information about your treatment, then we would also have you sign a release of information. We don't talk to friends, family, or anybody on campus without your written permission, with a few exceptions when there might be issues surrounding the safety of an individual or the safety of anyone on campus. But pretty much everything we do is confidential. If you feel like you might benefit from having a friend or a family member come to counseling with you, certainly we can talk about that on a case-by-case basis. If you feel comfortable having someone walk you up to the center, maybe hang out in the waiting room. If you want to bring somebody back with you, it's not typically something that we recommend, but it's not off limits and something that we can talk through on a case-by-case basis.
I would add that our departments often might need to share information with each other. We refer back and forth to each other quite often. So we would have you sign a release of information that the health services and counseling services could share information with each other just pertaining to your health care. We don't need to know anything that we don't need to know.
A couple of services that we offer, in addition to what we've already told you, we administer allergy shots. We don't formulate your allergy shots, but once that's been done by an allergist, you can bring those vials with you to school and we'll refrigerate them in our office. And then you just call for an appointment and we'll administer your allergy shot for you. That keeps you from having to go home every week or every 2 weeks to get that. And some doctors or nurse practitioners order routine blood work. And if that's the case, we can draw that blood work for you. And usually it's resulted the next day and I fax it to your ordering provider. I do have to have an order for that. You can't just come in and tell us what your mom wants you to have drawn and have it done. But if your provider at home wants that done, we can do that for you. We just need an order.
We also will continue to do some telemedicine in addition to face-to-face visits, which is telemedicine is what I've been doing during this whole pandemic time, that will continue to even once the semester begins. For some things, not everything can be seen that way.
I just want to emphasize how awesome these two departments are. All across the board, UTC, it's a great campus, but these two departments really put students first, and that's a big motto at UTC is putting individuals, specifically students first and their concerns. And, like they mentioned earlier, they may work hand in hand, but the one good example is the Center for Wellbeing focuses on a lot of different initiatives for students. They provide different events throughout the semesters or, across the fall and spring semesters. Kind of what Julie and Becky hinted at earlier, it may look a little different starting out, but, we're constantly having conversations every day as an organization. And, Becky and her team are really knocking it out of the park, making it sure that campus is a safe place for everybody come the fall semester. So what we'll do, we have a couple more minutes with this Zoom session. I know we covered a lot of information, really relevant information. But if there's something that you want explained further, or if you want to hear more about the immunization records, or if you're having difficulties uploading those, feel free to speak up. You can unmute yourself, or ask questions in the chat box. Otherwise, you'll keep hearing my lovely voice. But I'll, hand it back over to, both departments. Is there anything that y'all find important about each of your offices that you think students don't take the opportunity to utilize, or wish they would utilize more?
I would say for our office, if you have not navigated the healthcare system before on your own, it's a really good opportunity for you to get comfortable with that, learn that skill, because we are used to providing care for people who haven't done that before. So we are happy to walk you through the process without making you feel, bad for not already knowing it. We're very used to telling people step by step how to do things, and even if you aren't even sure if you need to come in and be seen, that's okay. Just call and speak to one of our registered nurses, and they can really help you sort through that, help you know when you need to come be seen and when you don't, when you can take care of things at home on your own, what you need to take for what. So it's a really good opportunity to learn to advocate for your own health care and learn how to access the healthcare system.
And I'll just remind you all to utilize the counseling services that we have. And like I said, the earlier, the better. But I think what a lot of students don't recognize is that it's really awesome that this service is free. And it's really awesome that University Health Services, most of what they offer is covered in your fees, and you can access in that way too. What folks don't always realize is that not all health insurance plans cover mental health and behavioral health, and counseling sessions in the community can be up to $100 a session sometimes. So it's expensive typically. So the fact that we offer this service to students for free is pretty awesome. So just a reminder to take advantage of that. And also our groups, I think it'll look a little bit different this semester as we try to navigate offering them online. But there's really something special about being able to be around other students who are going through something similar, who can understand where you're coming from in a way that maybe other people don't. And to just get that connection and that support is something that's really awesome. So not entirely sure what types of groups we'll be offering at the moment, but definitely keep an eye out on our website. It's utc.edu/counseling, or you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at UTC Counseling Center, or just pick up the phone and give us a call when it gets closer to the fall semester, and we'll let you know what options we have for groups, and those will be free as well.
So as we're wrapping up our session, what I'll do is I'll leave the session up because there's a lot of great contact information listed in the chat box. So if you want to write down any of that information or save it, somehow screenshot it, you're more than welcome to do so. And just to close out, I'll ask each one of our representatives, to state where their location and the offices are, and the best way for the fall semester to get in contact with them, but to also give one last tip of advice before we end our session.
So University Health Services is located in the McClellan Gym building, not on the gym floor, but above the gym floor and right next to the Math Plaza. So my last tip, I think, would be to just set a routine for yourself that includes getting adequate sleep, adequate nutrition, water intake, and physical activity, because these things will help you be more successful in your academics and social situations as well. And thanks for coming today.
The counseling center is located in the UC, the University Center, room 338. That's above the bookstore. And my last tip of the day, I think, is just to be kind to yourself as you adjust to being at a new school in such a strange time. Keep your expectations realistic, but at the same time, push yourself to try new things, to get involved, join a club or an activity in any way that you can, and talk to somebody about what you're going through. Certainly the counseling center is here to offer you that type of support. If you feel comfortable coming to see us, that's great. If not, then talk to a friend or a classmate or a family member about what you're going through.
This should be a really fun time for you. You're going to make friends you'll have for a lifetime. And if things do not seem to be going right for you, talk to somebody about it. Don't just think this is the way college is. Get involved with clubs or with intramural sports or some sort of activity on campus. I don't know what basketball and football season will look like this year, but that's always a lot of fun too. And in the past, they've even provided transportation to football games since that's off campus. But just get involved and have fun and go to your classes every day. That's really important. And get in a good routine. But have fun, and welcome to UTC.
Thanks, everyone. I've included my email in the chat box in case you come up with questions later and need to get in contact with these departments, or throughout your orientation session, if you weren't able to get in contact or participate in a previous Zoom session, we'll be happy to connect you and get you that information that you're looking for. So like I said earlier, I'll keep the chat box open and the Zoom session open just a little bit longer. But to reiterate what Ms. June said, we are looking forward to everybody, and starting in the next couple weeks. August is just around the corner. It may look a little different, but it's going to be exciting and positive nonetheless, because UTC is a great campus to attend and be a part of the community. So we really look forward to seeing y'all in the fall, and just want to say one last time, go Mocs!